have assigned the first two homeworks, right? First one is getting to know my Econ Lab, the second one is on chapter 1, okay? And I do believe one is due Friday, one is due Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. Who has finished? Okay, so are they due today and tomorrow?
I don't even know. I just did it.
You just did it, great. Okay, check it because I tried to get on my Econ Lab.
Yeah. Two people at 8.
Oh, did
Almost do like
I did it on the 18th.
almost do like
The 18th?
two of them were doing the 8th.
Then I couldn't work on it yesterday. I need that. And he got my size.
I'm not sure I get it.
No, I can't, no. And I'll get into it now.
I had two.
So just the ones that are due at the getting
Yeah, but, okay, so I don't think, hello? Yes.
So I ordered the code online at the store. The bookstore was out of them, so I ordered it online and it still hasn't gotten here. And it won't let me use the 14-day like free trial. Whenever I put the password in, it just says
But
error.
are you the one who sent me the several emails, or somebody else? Okay, somebody else sent me email about, you
You
sent,
had to unlock it, you said.
okay, so you sent, it worked
I
out.
got in when you, after you said you unlocked it again.
Okay,
Okay, so it's unlocked now.
Serious.
yes, it's been unlocked, it's been
It didn't
unlocked.
work for me. I don't know why.
Well, you know, you got to try it out because it's, you know, it has been expired registration. Today is the last day
For what?
for register on my Econ Lab.
Well, I tried it like a few days ago.
Okay, try it today, try it today. Okay, yeah, I mean, right now Pearson is, may I have your attention, please? If you have question, raise your hand. When I'm answering somebody's questions, and please be quiet. Okay. Pearson is not working right now, but keep checking.
Okay.
Keep checking because it is open today and it is the last day because I've been extending the registration for over a week, you know, and since last week somebody asked me to extend it, I extended. Today is absolutely the last day, and if Pearson get back on later today, and you have to register. If there's something wrong with Pearson, you cannot get on, then it's not your problem. But if Pearson is working later, and some of you still not registered by midnight today, then and you will be out of this class. Okay. So today is the last day because it's the second week, the end of second week. I cannot extend it any longer. Okay. So make sure every 5 minutes you got to check. Okay, and do not wait until 11:59 because registration may take you a few more minutes. Okay, by 11:59 you got to get it done. Okay, all right. Otherwise, you know, trust me, I will keep my word on this. If you're not registered by today, you will not be in this class. There's still plenty of people want to get in. All right, so today we're going to start chapter 2. Okay. I just shared something, you know, on the my Econ Lab registration, and please ask you fellow classmates second time. Okay. Please next time be on time. Okay. Even though I do not know your name, but I remember faces.
I know.
Okay, and then when you miss the class, I remember your face. When you're late, I remember it. And here we're in college, take this job seriously. And you can do it. All right, we're going to start chapter 2 today. In chapter 1, we talk about some fundamental economic principles that, you know, we'll be using over and over again, like opportunity cost, and marginalism, and sunk cost, and efficient market, and what are the different disciplines within economics. Okay? So anybody remember what's the key word in the definition of economics?
Limited.
Limited resources, right? Okay, it's the key. So that's the very reason why we have economics as subject. Okay. So this chapter, and we're going to talk about how are we going to allocate the limited resources. We talk about almost everything on earth is limited. So when we have the limited resources, how we allocate them and to be as happy as possible. Okay, so that's basically what chapter 2 is about, is allocation of the resources. If you think about this topic, allocation of resources, is very, very broad. Okay? How do we proceed with this? How do we approach this problem? In this chapter, they give you, introduce you 2 different models, okay? And the one model is what we're going to talk about today, and next is called one-person economy. The second model is called two-people economy. So we're going to use these 2 simple models to understand allocation of limited resources. Okay? You may think, oh, one-person economy, two-people economy, not very realistic. They're not realistic, but give us insight. By analyzing these 2 different economic models, it gives us insight about the rationale. You all hear me?
Yes.
Especially the people last row, first couple row, can you guys hear me? Okay. If you cannot hear me, you say that, let me know. Well, instead of introducing the model, and theoretically, I'm going to start with something I think is very fun. Have you guys watched the movie Cast Away by Tom Hanks? It's in 2000. It's a very good movie, right?
Haven't seen it.
How many of you have watched it? Raise your hand. Keep your hands raised. It's about 10 people, about 10 people. Okay, it's a third of class. Did you guys enjoy the movie?
Yes.
Okay. And so 2/3 of the class have not watched that movie. Then this will be your.
Oh, you said, wait, what did you say?
I said 2/3 of class have not watched it.
Oh, 2/3.
Yeah, I ain't
Every
seen
time didn't watch movies.
Have you watched it?
Oh, no, not at all.
Okay. I do believe. I think our library should have it. Check it out. And if they do, check it out and watch it as you.
I just watched it.
It's fun. Okay, it's fun. All right. So, so some of you have watched the movie. Can any one of you tell the rest of the class what this movie about? Use computers.
I was just.
That's true. That's true. But however, we're going to have to use this movie to introduce the concept. So I guess I have to ruin it, right? Okay. So you want to? All right. Okay. Any question here? Any question here?
Oh no, I asked him what it was about. I ain't never
All
seen
right. So be patient. Somebody is about to tell you that. All right. Please. I know you're very active. That's very good. But try to keep makes class quiet. Okay. Go ahead.
So the movie Castaway is about a character portrayed by Tom Hanks, whose name I can't remember. He gets lost at sea during a storm and stranded on a deserted island in the middle of the ocean. And he just has to figure out what he's going to do. So most of the movie centers around him trying to figure out how to survive on the island. And there's a plucky secondary character named Wilson, who's volleyball that he paints a face onto. That is his best friend for
That's right.
a good portion of the film.
Very good. Anybody want to add anything to that?
He ended up getting a lot of materials that was, he actually was on a plane and the plane crashed.
It was a plane.
That's right.
That's what I thought it was. And then items that was on the plane ended up coming up on shore, so he used that to actually survive. I think it was actually full of mail, so he opened different mail items and he used all the various things to survive. up building what do you call
Raft?
it? A raft to get back. Well, to end up where like this big ship found them.
That's right.
Video might work for you to get some credits.
I think that's actually.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. So let's watch a couple minutes, just trailer, okay? For sing some
So
of
now we might as well watch the movie.
This movie gonna be, this one probably need to 10 minutes cavities out with a
Maybe
rock.
watch the movie.
No.
Yeah, can I be at homework or something?
Only 2 minutes, 32 seconds.
Nah, let's make the homework time and watch this movie.
I gotta get it for you.
My granddaddy used it on the Southern Pacific.
I'm always going to keep this on Memphis time.
I love you. I love you too.
I'll be right back. Hey, is all this turbulence from Santa and those 8 tiny reindeer? Better buckle up, Chuck. You're gonna get bumpy.
That's why I don't get on planes. Shit like that.
This movie actually made me like split pills when I was a kid.
You never should have gotten on that plane.
They think that I am right here. 100 miles squared. That's a search area of 500,000 square miles. That's twice the size of Texas.
From the Academy Award-winning director of Forrest Gump,
We live and we die by time, don't we?
Tom Hanks,
You'll never match. Take a chance, will you?
at the edge of the world.
Open fire!
The end of a man's journey will become the beginning of his life.
I would rather take my chance out there on the ocean than to stay here and die.
You were lost for 4 years. We had a funeral, coffin.
What was in it?
Did she get remarried?
So that's fun movie.
I thought he was gonna come.
All right, so
Just
now
do
that
that.
get back to the concept here.
My fault.
You have to pause it. You didn't pause it.
I did not pause it.
Oh, hey, both movies.
That's the first one?
All right.
You gotta turn it off as
So
soon as you
why
get
do I show you guys this movie?
His resources were limited. That's right.
And how many people on that island?
One.
One. Okay.
Well, there was
So
no-
that's why I'm going to use the movie to introduce you the model 1-person economy. Okay. Anybody remember what he survived on?
coconut.
Coconut. That is liquid he used, right? What else?
Fish.
Fish.
Coconut.
Coconut. The main food and nutrients
Not a good combo.
depend on to survive. Okay? All right, so later we're going to use this. All right, so first, I'm going to introduce you a concept, okay? And later on, and we're going to use, I'm going to show you the graph to explain this concept, okay? So now we are talking about 1-person economy. The very first concept I'm going to introduce you is called production, possibility, frontier. Production, possibility, frontier. Okay. I'm going to tell you what is it, and you can write it down. Oh, if you have the book has a definition. Production possibility frontier is a graph, okay? It's a graph that shows all the combinations of goods and services. It's a graph that shows all the combinations of the goods and the services that can be produced. If all society's resources are used efficiently. Production possibility frontier is a graph that shows all the combination of goods and services that can be produced if all society's resources are used efficiently. I do recommend you to write it down. When you write it down, you start remembering. So I'm going to repeat one more time. Production possibility frontier is a graph that shows all the combinations of goods and services that can be produced if all society's resources are used efficiently. So what are the keywords there? The resources needs to be
Efficiently used.
used efficiently. That's right. What else?
Goods and services. Goods and services.
All the goods and the services. All the combinations. It's all the combinations. So there's two keywords there. One is the resource is used in the most efficient way. The second one is it graphs all the possible combinations of goods and services. Okay, so now let's do this. Okay, so somebody already told me Tom Hanks survived on coconut and fish, right? Okay. And Tom Hanks used his limited resources every day to gather these two different kind of products. Okay, what are his limited resources? What are his limited resources that he can use or depend on? Okay, what are his limited resources that he can use to gather these two goods? Okay, trees, coconut trees, right? Limited coconut trees on that island.
Whatever he be killing the fish with.
Spear?
Yeah, can't make the
Made
whole.
from a tree.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Okay, what else?
There's only so many sharp rocks that he can use to cut. That's it.
Try. Okay. What else? What else?
Leaves for
His
shelter.
the resources that he can use.
Water?
Are also limited. Very limited water. Where is that water?
Ocean.
Hit the boil it.
Cannot drink.
Yeah, you can drink that too.
What is that one?
Coconut.
Well, that's what he drinks. But occasionally he get water. How did he get water? Anybody remember that?
I thought it was the leaves.
Huh?
Probably right.
Somebody say rain. Found that running water.
The rainwater is the only source of water he can have. So I think he made this kind of tube, if I remember correctly. And then every time it rains, and he will use the leaf to fold the leaf to kind of form a kind of channel to for the water, rainwater to get into that kind of tube. So that's the only way he can collect the water. Of course, the limited rainwater is not sufficient for him to survive on, so that's why he used coconut milk. We talk about limited resources in very first class, right? Okay. What else?
The plane wreck. Some of that stuff, and there's only limited supply because there's only one wreck.
Okay, so there's some packaging for all of the plane, right? Okay. What else?
Leaves. If he's cutting down the trees, you can't get any more leaves.
Leaves. What else?
We already say fish.
The Fish is limited there too. What else?
Companionship.
Are you good? Limited companionship. That's why he made that Wilson, made that Wilson volleyball.
Yeah.
Wilson. Became his only friend. What else?
Fire.
Fire. Did he make fire later?
It took him forever to get it going.
That's right. Yeah. What else? You looking for those couple
Tom.
time and his strengths, right? You gotta have the intelligence and knowledge to survive on that island. You know, if I was left on island, I don't know whether I can survive. You gotta have strengths. You have intelligence. You know, have this kind of survival skill. Okay, those are limited. So those are his limited resources he can use and depend on. Okay, and he used those to work on this two, let's say production. Okay, work on to get on, gather these two goods. Let's make some assumptions in order to talk about this one person economy. Let's assume Tom Hanks use all his limited resources doing nothing else but on these two production, gathering these two different goods. Use all his resources on nothing else but gathering coconut and getting fish. Okay? That's assumption. Okay, so now I'm going to give you some numbers. Right. If we assume that Tom Hanks want to spend whole days, okay, all his strength and energy and in any single day on just this one production, gathering coconut, he can gather maximum amount of coconut he can get is 30. Then he has no energy and time left for any other production. And what will be the production for fish? Zero. So this is one combination of goods that he can gather when he used up all his resources in any single day. Okay? But someday he would like to have some fish. Okay? So there's another way that he can divide his resources on these two productions. He can gather 25 coconuts and catch 10 fishes. Okay? Again, he used up all his resources within any single day if he does this too. All right? Another one is 18, 20. You can gather 18 coconuts and 20 fishes, and then by the end of the day, he has no time and no energy left. Or he can gather 10 coconuts or 30 fish, and he uses up all his resources. But someday, he just wants a lot of fish because he's so hungry. Okay? He wants to spend all his resources on catching fish. Well, then he has no time and energy on this production, and he will gather 40 fishes. Okay? So here, what I list here as 5 different ways that Tom Hanks can allocate his resources in order to gather the 2 different kind of goods. 5 different ways. Okay. And are there other ways, other combinations? Yes, I'm not listing all of them. I'm just, taking 5 combinations among all. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these 5 combinations on the graph. Okay? So along the vertical axis, this is coconut. And on the horizontal axis, this is fish. Okay. Where is the first combination? 30 coconut and 0 fish. Along this graph here.
Top left.
It's here, right? Okay. 30, let's say put here. So this is the first combination. Where is the second one? 25 and 10. Okay, so I'm just going to make this is 10, this is 20. So 25, this is here. We have 10. Approximately here, right? 10 fish and 25 coconuts. Next one, 18 coconuts and 20 fish. 18 coconut is somewhere here and 20 fish. The next one, 10 coconut and 30 fish. 30 fish and coconut. And the very last one is 40 fish. Okay. So I have these 5 dots here. Okay. And now I'm going to connect them. If I draw it accurately, okay, when I connect them, this is not going to be a straight line. It has this curve here. Okay. So after I connect this, you know, there are some other points along this curve here. Okay, what are those? Well, we make another assumption. Let's assume all the other points along this curve represent all other different combinations that Tom Hanks used up all his resources together. Okay. So if that's the case, then what do we call this curve? Now you introduce this supply and demand, right? But I did introduce you the concept today. So we call this line, this graph here.
Line graph.
It's a PPF, right? PPF graphs all possible combinations of goods and services, right? If the resources are used efficiently. So this graph here shows all possible combinations of coconut and fish Tom Hanks can gather if he uses up all his resources and in the most efficient way. Okay, so this is Tom Hanks' PPF. Later on, I will introduce you the PPF that is straight line. Okay. Okay. So today we're just going to talk about this PPF, some properties of this PPF. You may think, oh, this stuff is too easy. Okay, but when we start analyzing the PPF, it's not going to be very easy. Okay. First, the property. Does the PPF have a positive slope or negative slope?
Negative.
Negative slope. Can anybody tell me why it has a negative slope? Use economic concepts.
If it were a positive slope, then both values would be increasing concomitantly.
Why that wouldn't be possible for PPF?
Because economics uses limited resources.
That's right. Because you have only limited resources. If you increase the production on one good, the production on the other good has to decrease, right? Okay, because you have limited resources. You constantly have to trade off the resource on one production to the resource on another production. Okay, so that's why it has negative slope. It's because of the limited resources. Okay, you cannot produce more on both when you have limited resources. However, if there's some other condition occurs, then the resources, the amount of resources has changed, then we may be able to shift the PPF. Okay, so let me ask you this. So this represent, you know what, let's put it aside. You know, I want to talk about this PPF first before I expand to another one. Okay, so let's just leave it like that. Okay, let's go to the second property. All right. Second property, okay, talks about efficiency. Okay, so I want to tell you this. I'm giving you a point A right here, another point B right here, another point B right here. Tell me what are these 3 points represent? Point A represent a combination of goods and service, right? Can Tom Hanks produce that combination?
Yeah.
B.
No, he can't do A. He can do B.
Okay. A represent combination here
It's below
and
the
here,
curve.
right? Okay. So my question is, can Tom Hanks produce a combination, can gather goods like this?
Yes.
Yes. How about B?
Yes.
How about C?
No.
Okay. So this is what we talk about efficiency. Along this line here, the Tom Hanks reach the maximum. If we choose a combination inside, that indicates Tom Hanks is not used up all these resources. Or maybe he has used up the resources, but not doing it in the most efficient way. Okay? But for any combination outside PPF, based on the resource he has, average. Okay. Are you guys following me on this? Okay. Okay. Next thing I'm going to ask you is, okay, we just talked about this C cannot be reached. But what may happen that you think Tom Hanks may be able to reach the C from B? He only has 24 hours. Definitely time-wise, he's not going to have more. How about energy? Do you think he can gain more energy?
Better knowledge.
Well, there's no books on that island. He cannot gain energy. That's true. That's true. Yeah, at the end of 4th year, he definitely has more expertise in, surviving on the island than when he started, right? Okay, good. What else? Okay, what else? That can move him from B to C. And did that happen in the movie?
He increases efficiency.
Okay, increase the efficiency. He either has to be stronger or has to be find better ways to survive, right? That's one way to do it, but it's going to take time for he to gain that kind of expertise. Okay. So what happened in the middle of the movie that you think may push him from a point B to frequency?
Maybe he had better tools, like he learned how to
How
make money.
did he get better tools? You guys remember?
I don't know, I haven't seen it.
He built more though throughout the 4 years. Like he would think about what he does have around him, and like he ended up making the spear to actually get the fish.
Yeah, but the spear came from trees
Yeah.
or something else. He gained more resources later on in the movie.
The shipments.
The shipment. When the shipment came in, what are inside of the shipment? Do you guys remember? Do you remember that he had the tooth
Oh,
problem?
he got the ice skate.
Oh, he had to pull out his tooth.
He got this ice skate, right? And that ice
And that's
skate
how he
become very useful for him, right? I remember he used that to catching fish, cutting wood, right? So when that package fall out from the sky, what happened to him in terms of the resources?
He got more resources.
He got more resources. He got more tools to play with, right?
Something that would, cause less time on each individual.
That's right.
time. Yeah.
Exactly. So when that happens, the whole PPF shifted out because he has more resource to play with. Even though his skills and expertise may be still the same, but he has more resources. Okay? So PPF can be expanded to the right when you have more resources, or if he became more skillful. Okay. So in the real economy, in addition to the resources, what else you think can shift the PPF in this direction? In the real economy.
Technology.
Technology. We will have better technology, and production can be goods can be producible faster and use less resources. Then PPF is shifted. Okay.
Trade.
Trade, very good, very, very good. Yeah, trade and technology. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Okay? So are you guys with me on this right now? Okay. So that's the third property of the PPF. Okay. Increase of the resources. Better technology can shift PPF to right. Okay, so that's the third part. So far so good? So far very straightforward concept, right? But the last one is the most difficult one. I want you to take a look at those 5 combinations and see how we change from one to another. The first combination tells us that Tom Hanks spent all his resources on gathering coconut. He can gather 30 coconut and 30 fish. Okay? But now he said, I want some fish. I want to 10 more fish. So by having 10 more fish, he has to allocate some of his resources to gather coconut. How many coconut he has to give up?
5.
So what is the opportunity cost for Tom Hanks to catch 10 more fish from here to here?
5 coconuts.
5 coconuts. Okay? Okay, now he has 10 fish and 25 coconuts. The next day, he said, I want to have more fish. So he wants to increase the fish production from 10 to 20. The increase from here to here is still 10. He wants to have 10 more fish. For this incremental amount, how many coconut he has to give up now?
7. Oh.
7 coconuts, right? Okay. And the next day, he said, I just want fish, a lot of fish. So he allocated even more resources on the fish production. He want to reach 30 fish. He want to increase from 20 to 30. For this 10 fish, how many coconuts he has to give up? Okay. The day after that, he said, I want all my resources to be allocated on fish production. Okay. He's able to get 10 more fish, and this time, how many coconuts he has to give up? 2. So the opportunity cost of catching the first 10 fish is different from the opportunity cost of catching the second 10 fish, and it's different from the opportunity cost of catching the third 10 fish, and it's different from the opportunity catching the last 10 fish, right? What's happening to this opportunity cost?
Increasing.
Increases. Okay? So the fourth property I'm going to introduce you is called law of increasing opportunity cost. The law of increasing opportunity cost. What's the law of increasing opportunity cost says? As we own or produce more and more on one thing, write it down this. Yeah. As we own or produce more and more on one thing or one good, the opportunity cost of producing even more is going to be higher. Law of increasing opportunity cost says, as we produce more and more on one good, the opportunity cost of producing even more will be higher. So, the insight, can anybody tell me what's the insight from this law? Can you relate this law to what you know in daily life?
This relates pretty much back to the last class that we had when we were talking about increasing from getting a 70 in the final up to an 80 or 90. That you have to study harder, study longer. So it's pretty much the same concept.
Very good, very good. It's the same principle, the law of increasing opportunity cost. Okay, as you produce more and more, or more and more, and you want even more, the opportunity you got to have to give up more and more. Okay, so the insight from this tells us, don't be greedy. Don't be greedy. After you reach a certain amount of the possession on something, either the marginal utility, marginal satisfaction is going to go down, or the marginal cost is going to go up, or opportunity cost is going to go up. So the insight from here is, do not be too greedy. But I want to explain this law in this context, in this example here. So why do you think for Tom Hanks, the opportunity cost of getting the first 10, second 10, third 10, and the fourth 10 fish increases as he catch more and more fish? Just think about this in the context of this example and why it's like that. He has to catch fish off the shore area, right? And he used that spear that he made and the skate, to catch fish. There is a limited amount of fish off the shore area. Okay? When he caught the first 10 fish, let's say he used 4 hours to catch 10 fish. After he caught that 10 fish, if he wants to catch another 10 fish, how many more hours now you think you have to spend? More than 4 or less than 4?
More than,
Why?
because
Less
the law.
Because somebody,
Less fish.
there's less fish in that area, right? Okay. So the second 10 fish is going to take more resources from him to catch it. After 20 fish is caught, even less. Okay. So it's going to take him even longer, right? So when he finished catching 30 fishes, probably there's very few fish in that area. So if he want to catch even more, another 10, he's probably going to use up all his resources doing nothing else. So because it's become harder and harder for him to catch when he has caught something, that's why the opportunity cost increases. And that gets back to the limited resources concept again. Because in that short area, there are limited amount of fish, right? Okay, you can say, there may be 50 or 60, but then, after you catch something, and we have less to catch from. Okay. So that's the reason why the opportunity cost and full-time Hanks increases. Okay. So every time you have the law of increasing opportunity cost, and the PPF is going to be a curve, not straight line. Okay. And next class we're going to talk about the PPF that's going to be a straight line. Right. So couple things, and before you leave, registration on my Econ Lab today, and also the homework.